Rahn did not expect to hear from humans again. Not after 300 years. Not after the galaxy had turned 1,000 times since that one strange day. He was deep in his work, high above the surface of Keung Prime, where the sky was always blue and quiet. The archive tower was made of smooth crystal and floated gently in the clouds. Here, Rahn lived alone, watching the history of other species rise and fall. His people, the Jaheli, had long since stopped caring about the young and noisy species. Of the stars, Rahn was different. He watched. He remembered. His crystal body glowed with soft blue light, the sign of a scholar warrior, but his colors had faded over time. No battles. No travel. Only quiet days and quiet thoughts. He had almost forgotten the humans. Almost. Then, the signal came out. It started as a whisper in the corner of his mind, a frequency long dead, a code not used in centuries. At first, Rahn thought it was an error. Then he checked the quantum signature. He froze out it was human, but not just human. It was far more advanced than it should be. The signal carried layers of data, encryption, and strength Rahn had never seen from Earth's people. He hesitated, then answered the call. A voice came through, strong, clear, confident. "This is Admiral G1 of the Terran Federation Fleet." The voice said, "Requesting direct contact with Scholar Warrior Rahn of Keung Prime. Do you read me?" Rahn blinked. The name G1 echoed somewhere in his memories. And that voice, it carried something else. Not just power, but purpose. He opened the full communication channel. A hologram formed in front of him. A woman stood in a dark uniform, with silver edges. Her posture was perfect, her eyes sharp, and her face held the same fire he had seen long ago. "I am Rahn," he said, his voice deep and calm. "You look like someone I once knew." The woman smiled. "Captain Haiyun was my ancestor. She commanded the ship your people saved 318 years ago." Rahn stepped back. "You remember that?" She nodded. Humanity remembers everything. For a moment, Rahn said nothing. Then the memories returned. The human ship had appeared broken, half dead, bleeding oxygen into space. Against the laws of his people, Rahn had helped them. The crew was weak. Their leader, Haiyun, had promised something strange, that humanity would never forget. Rahn had smiled back then. He thought it was a pretty lie from a young species. Now, standing before him, was proof he had been wrong. "We made a vow," Admiral G1 said, "and we came to repay it." "Repay what?" Rahn asked. "It was a simple act of kindness." "Not to us," she said. "To us, it was the day we saw hope in the stars." Rahn's crystal skin glowed brighter for the first time in decades. "Why now? After so long?" G1's face turned serious. "Because we know your son is dying." The words struck like a hammer. "Only the Conclave knows that," Rahn said slowly. "We've watched. We've studied. We became what we had to become to help you." Rahn looked at her, really looked. The humans had changed. They were stronger, smarter, united. They had built something powerful from their past. And now they came not to ask, but to give. Rahn felt something stir inside him, something old and nearly forgotten. Hope. Double quotes. "Then speak, Admiral," Rahn said. "Tell me what humanity has brought." The screen flickered with the light of stars and the memory of a promise never forgotten. Admiral G1 didn't come with words alone. She came with fire, with light, and with proof. The sky above Keung Prime cracked open as the Terran flagship descended. It was not a warship, though it could have been. It was something new-eyed, smooth and glowing like a small sun. It hovered above the Council City, silent and proud. The name written on its side in both human and Jaheli symbols was simple. Haiyun's Oath. Rahn stood before the Jaheli High Conclave. His voice, once ignored, now carried weight. "They remembered," he said, "and they have returned not to take, but to give." But the conclave, made of the oldest and coldest minds of his people, was silent. Then Elder Varn spoke, her crystal body flickering with doubt. "Why should we trust a young species with our future?" G1 stepped forward, her boots echoing against the polished crystal floor. "Because you trusted us once. When we were nothing, you gave us life. Now we offer more than thanks. We offer survival." She touched a control on her wrist. A hologram bloomed in the air, a sun on the edge of death, and beside it, a new world. It shimmered with energy lines, shaped and tuned to the needs of Jaheli life. "This is Project Dawnbreaker," she said. "We have created a planet that sings the same frequencies as Kaon Prime. A new home, ready for your people." Gasps spread through the room. "You built the world?" Rahn asked. G1 smiled. "We built many things, but this one is for you." The conclave hesitated. Pride was strong in the Jaheli. To accept help felt like weakness. But Rahn stepped forward. "Is it weakness," he said, "to accept the hand that remembers?" The vote passed barely. And so the journey began. Jaheli. Ships, old but beautiful, rose into the stars beside the Terran fleet. It was the first time the two species moved as one. Rahn watched as young Jaheli warriors looked in awe at human pilots. And humans, in turn, looked at the Jaheli with respect. Not fear. Rahn sat beside G1 in the command chamber. "You said you prepared for centuries. Why?" G1 looked at him with calm eyes. "Because we don't forget. Captain Hayun told our children, and they told theirs. In every Terran school, her story was taught. You became a symbol, Rahn, not of power, but of honor." He was silent, moved beyond words. When they reached the new world, Rahn saw it from orbit. The sky was the same color as Kaon Prime. The ground hummed with energy familiar to his kind. It felt like coming home. They named it Hayun's rest dot at the center of the first city. Humans and Jaheli built a monument together, a tall, clear tower, with two figures made of light Hayun and Rahn, side by side. Rahn placed his hand on the monument. "I never thought one act would echo this far." G1 stood beside him. "Sometimes the smallest kindness grows the loudest voice." Years passed. The Jaheli people thrived on their new world. Children played in fields of glowing grass. Human engineers and Jaheli scientists worked side by side. The story of the favor lived on in songs, books, and hearts. On the day Rahn returned to the archive, he added one final entry. What happens when humanity owes you a favor and actually remembers? He closed the crystal book with care. And before the sun set on Hayun's rest, Rahn whispered into the wind, "They remembered." And that changed everything.